31-13, 70% win percentage. They are number 2 in total wins and number 2 in win percentage among the C&D schools behind Dobbs Ferry. They're also returning some talent as well. It's kind of been the theme of the night. Offensively, 6 of 11 starters are coming back. They are returning their quarterback in Annunziata. On the offensive line is kind of where they lost the most of it, though. 2 out of 5 coming back, so still getting some experience, but one big loss is Myers, and Myers was a fantastic back for them for a long period of time, it feels like. But guys like Santucci, Reichel, Chiavetta, most of the skill guys are back, but again, losing some guys up front and losing Myers is tough because this was the number 1 offense Mars had the C&D schools in points scored. They were averaging 41.4 points a game. They had 5 games over 30 points. And when I talked to Coach raved about the 2 quarterbacks that they have. They have 2 strong QBs, but they have to be able to run the ball, especially late in the season. And there's a huge emphasis for him. How do you replace Myers? It's going to be an important one. Defensively, Mars, 7 of 11 starters coming back. This was the number 3 out of 10 schools in points allowed. Coach really emphasized about gang tackling and emphasizing on stopping the run more consistently. They were a pretty good unit, but there were some cracks in the armor that Coach has talked about. But they're bringing in some experience that will help back. Biggest question mark, Coach talked about it, replacing Myers. They had a veteran offensive line. They have 3 guys they have to replace. Coach believes the skill position is strong. Can they fill in the other positions up front is the question. Now, a couple guys to talk about. Obviously, got to start with their quarterback, Michael Annunziata. He could beat you with his arm, with his leg, athletic guy. His arm is pretty darn strong when he has his feet set. The question is health, right? Can he stay durable? Can he be durable? Because when he is playing, he is a really strong football player for them. But Coach raves about his leadership. They like his leadership a lot. Another guy I think is a fantastic football player that not a lot of people talk about. Wide receiver and defensive end John Benke, the senior, 6'3", 200 pounds. I think he is a well-rounded tight end that he can line up in line and run routes. He can line up out wide and play one-on-one with these DBs using his big body, but he can also block. And on the defensive side of the ball, I thought he was pretty solid at the end, too. He's a strong two-way player for them. Another guy, running back and linebacker, Jason Smith, captain of the team. He's got a low center of gravity, bulky, good, decent-sized kid, 5'9", not very tall, but some good thickness to him. And he's kind of going to be that downhill runner to try to, alleviate some of that Myers being missed. And I think, you know what? He was kind of impressive. I know he didn't run too much because Myers took the bulk of the load, but you know what? I think he can do a decent job. A couple of good skill guys, wide receiver Jake Matarazzo, the senior, not a very tall guy, about 5'5", 5'6", but Boise shifty. Coach talks about he is very difficult to cover in space. And how about I mentioned John Benke before? How about Connor Benke, the junior, another wide receiver in corner, 5'9" kid, skinny kid, but you know what? I saw him make some big plays throughout the season. Again, didn't get a high volume, but you know what? He was a reliable target as well. And to wrap it all up, finally, safety and quarterback, Jax Calachicho, the junior, he came in for Annunziata when he got hurt. He's going to be a starter at safety, but he also gets some quarterback reps that Coach mentioned. He got him last year. He might get some more meaningful ones this year as well, Mars. What are your thoughts on Tucko?
When it comes to Tucko, the big question that needs to be answered is how do you replace Myers in this offensive line? Not everyone's going to be gone, but I mean, when you're looking at it, with the 4 missing starters or 4 or 5 guys you're missing, at least you're missing out on 4 of them being the offensive line and Myers, right? You're missing out on those guys who definitely filled in the role that really pushed this offense going forward. So the question is, how do you replace that dynamic run, just scoring, right? The constant scoring that Tuckahoe had from last year and the entire time as Myers was there, because he was a straight-up force. So I want to see how they do replace him, and essentially how do they replace those missing pieces on the offensive line. They clearly have the ability to do that because they have a lot of skill players here, and they have a lot of just good players. But I want to see how it's done, because for years, sometimes it can feel like it's a luxury when you have a top-level talent like Myers in your backfield. So you got to see how they kind of bounce back from it. So I want to see how that happens, and I want to see how powerful this team can be without Myers on the line.
All right, that was the C&D schools, Mars. We're going to